Cool. And we're live. This
Ooh.
hangout is now live. All right. Hello, patrons. It's Frank from Frank Talks, and I'm here with Chelsea from Chelsea Gets Fit. There she is. There we go. Okay, you're gonna see her face on the screen for probably the rest of the hangout.
Hi.
Yeah, might as well, right?
Right. Self-deprecating humor here.
No one here wants to look at my face, so we might as well. Might as well put the
Well,
lovely lady on.
I don't know anything about that, but
So Chelsea, you want to tell them a little bit about what you do with Chelsea Gets Fit?
sure. I created the page Chelsea Gets Fit after a lot of encouragement and pretty much being told to by my upline coach. I'm a team Beachbody coach, which I'm not going to try to sell anything. I'm just going to really explain real quick what I do with that.
Okay.
Basically, I use Beachbody products. I drink the shakes and I do the workouts, but it's about setting my own goals and working towards them while helping other people do the same thing.
Okay, very cool. So yeah, and you're allowed to sell things. Yeah, that's okay. We're capitalists here. Or at least I'm a capitalist. I can't speak for all of my patrons, but yeah. So you do that, and you and people pay you to coach you and things like that, to coach them, basically.
Pretty much. Income is mostly commissions.
Okay. Okay. So you coach people, but your money comes from commissions.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Coaching services are free, but the products are not.
Very cool. Interesting. So, yeah, I met Chelsea at Word of Life. That's one of the two colleges that I graduated from. And let me see. I met you. You came up. You were the one that came up. You came up on, what do you call it? College for a weekend.
Campus days?
Yeah, campus days. There we go. College for a weekend. That's the Liberties thing. Yeah, you came up for campus days, and I think I remember I was serenading you.
You were.
Yes, that was, yeah. And then I realized that you were a high school student, and I said, "Oh no, I'm gonna get myself in trouble," thinking I'm flirting with a high school student. But then you came. You were first year during my second year, and we didn't talk all that much. But you were good friends with some of my roommates, right?
Yeah.
So I saw you there, and on Facebook, I just noticed that you're posting a lot about libertarianism, which is one thing that we talk about here, and you're also talking about fitness, which is something I'd like to talk a little bit more about in the coming year. Living a holistic life, and part of that is staying fit and being fit. And I'm a pretty skinny guy, but I don't work out as much as I'd like to. Definitely not as fit as I'd like to be. So, but I'm not asking this for me. I'm asking for a friend. No, but I'm asking for any viewers who might be interested in learning more about how do I keep these goals, because we set in the new year our New Year's resolutions, one of the biggest goals is along the lines of health. How do I be healthier? So I'm sure this time of year gets pretty busy for you.
Yeah.
Right. And I made a video recently about New Year's goals. The problem with our New Year's resolutions is that they're not specific enough. They're not goals. We need to make them specific, and we need to make them measurable, and all these different things. You can check out the video. I won't go through all the points. We make our goals so vague that we never stick with them. And I've been setting goals for the past 5 years now, and my goals in the areas of fitness are always really kind of weak. I just never know where I want to go with them. So what would you say to that? What would you say? What are some good goals to set? I'm trying to. Okay, so let me give you an example for myself. Right now, my goals in the areas of fitness are literally just to do something, like as soon as I wake up, to do something physical, just to get my blood moving, and then 3 times a day, after, and then 3 times a day, do something, some kind of workout in the middle of the day, and then I'm hoping towards the end of the year to get to a point where I'm working out like every hour, just doing something, like just taking a break just to work out, so that I'm spending a little bit of time. I'm spending more time working out, and it's spread out among the day rather than doing everything in the beginning of the day. But what are your thoughts on how do you keep disciplined? And it's making the time for me. I don't know about for you. Go ahead. I'm gonna stop talking now.
All right. Well, a big thing is that numbers are easier to kind of keep track of than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important to write everything down and be disciplined in writing things down. So, like, if your goal is to eat healthier, then you want to write everything that you eat down so that you can see, oh, I could have done better here, I could have done better there. Mm. Or if your goal is to be more active, write down how long you do what, and you'll say, oh, I could have made time for this somewhere else in the day, or, I could have done more reps of this, or to measure your progress. Maybe you can do 5 push-ups now, and your goal is to be able to do 25. Mm. So you do them every day and measure how many you can.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I wasn't sure if you were saying something else. It's a little bit delayed. The visuals are a little bit delayed, but all right. So writing things down, yeah, that was definitely something I said in the original blog that I wrote about. This isn't even on Frank Talks. This is when I did the previous blog was called Wisdom Thrives, and the first blog I wrote, the first post I wrote in the first blog was about setting goals for the new year, and that was something that I had said about writing it down, because there's studies that show that it makes a big difference. And you got to keep track of what you're doing, because that shows you your progress, and when you don't progress, then you get to see that and helps you correct course. So yeah, writing things down is a big part. Let me see. Okay, so what would you what would be some of your recommendations as far as time management in keeping these goals? Do you think that's just my problem, or do you think that a lot of people have that problem when it comes to working out? They just feel like they don't have the time. What do you think? Actually, let me pose this question. What do you think are some of the biggest obstacles that people face when it comes to getting and staying fit? Do you think that time management is one of them? And what are some of the ones that you encounter with your job?
I think that time management is probably, if not one of the biggest obstacles that people face, just because, people go and they work for 8, 9, 10 hours, mm-hmm. 5, 7 days a week. And, they want to spend time with their family. Maybe they're going to school part-time after work, So it's finding time to be active. And any activity is better than no activity. So if you can work out for 15 minutes, that's fine. It's better than not doing anything. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But a lot of people will say that they don't have any time, but they watch TV for 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
So it's about priorities, really.
Yeah. And that's something that I had, another thing I said, let me see. What was it? What you just said reminded me of something that I said pretty frequently about time management. Say what you just said again.
That it's about priorities?
About priorities. No, that wasn't. Man. Okay, so something that you said about time management, about, let me see. I gotta let this thing go. I can't. I probably letting this stuff go. But time management. Okay. So yeah, time management is one of my big things. I really should have more questions written down. Let's see. Yeah. Oh yes, something is better than nothing. So another thing that I say about goal setting is it's like eating an elephant. Okay, and do you know how you eat an elephant? Have you heard
One
this
bite
one
at a
before?
time.
One bite at a time. That's what I like to say when it comes to goal setting, because a lot of people have this idea that they got to be working out for an hour every day, but that was the point that you made. If even if it's just 15 minutes, even if it's just I think last year I was doing like 30 push-ups and 30 sit-ups every day, or every weekday, some weeks, but it was better than doing nothing. So
Right.
so there's that progression, and now um, I'm trying to get more time into this. So yeah, there you go. That's another point that I like to make here in goal setting. You eat an elephant one bite at a time. So if there are people listening that you want to get fit, you want to spend the time getting fit, but you don't have a lot of time, just something is better than nothing. So start with something small, and continue to increase where you can. I'm told that working out is addictive. I haven't found that yet, but I don't know. Have you found that? I get people all the time telling me. When I was in second year, I did weightlifting, and all my friends said, "Oh yeah, this is the year you're going to get addicted." And I was like, I never got addicted. I was like, this is terrible. But I'm not a big weightlifter. I prefer. I said I did push-ups and sit-ups. I prefer things that you can do in a jail without without the weights.
Like in jail. They have free gyms all over the place.
Yeah, what?
They have free gyms all over the place in jail.
Well, they call it a jail workout because you can do it in jail without the weights, or at least I'm pretty sure that was a term that I've heard. And I'm sure that they probably have weights in jails, but
It was a joke, but
yeah.
it's okay. I forgot how to be funny.
It's okay. I'm not. My jokes aren't landing today either. So I feel like I'm usually quicker with quips, but I'm always doing these live casts, early in the morning or whenever I'm tired. I'm constantly tired because I'm shuffling this and my regular job, and and a second job. So for people listening, upgrade your membership now so that Frank can get some sleep. Which is another important part of health is getting the proper amount of sleep. Do you think that factors into fitness at all, and into how fit someone is?
I think it definitely does. From personal experience, my second year at Word of Life,
Mhm.
I lost probably 20, 25 pounds. And really, people ask me how I did it. Honestly, I took a nap after class, after lunch every day.
Mhm.
And that's I think that was the hardest part too, was disciplining myself to actually sleep for 20 minutes to half an hour, maybe more, every single weekday.
Yeah, interesting.
Being at Word of Life, I couldn't go to sleep until my roommates went to sleep, and that was pretty late. And then I was up at 5 or 6 in the morning to go to breakfast. So I obviously wasn't. I need 8 or 9 hours of sleep to be fully for my brain to be fully working.
Mhm.
So getting 5 hours of sleep wasn't really cutting it. So I was like, okay, I need to sleep more. So I disciplined myself to take naps. And I found that sleeping right after lunch, my metabolism would speed up.
Mhm. Interesting.
Your body does tons of stuff while you're sleeping that you don't really realize.
Yeah. Where did you hear about that? Did you just do it and then you started napping and then you realized that it helps your metabolism, or did you read about it in an article or something like that? I'm curious.
I had another friend at Word of Life who was doing it.
Mhm.
And So I tried it, and after a while, I was like, wow, this is actually really working.
Yeah, interesting. Now, how long have you been, let's say, on the fitness scene? How long have you been like uh, working on losing weight and staying fit? It seems like the job part of it is only a recent thing from what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh boy, forever. I was, yeah, no, I was like really obese as a child, and it's just, I know people say, oh, it doesn't exist, that's a genetic thing, but like you can call my doctor. Like,
Yeah.
I really, as a child, and it wasn't anything I was eating or anything I was doing, it was just how it was. So I joined Weight Watchers when I was like 12. I did that up through, I think I was like 15. And I lost a lot of weight, but the thing is they weren't teaching me how to actually be healthy. I was just saying, okay, I can only eat this much in a day, so I'm going to try to eat less. And what that did was actually teach me really unhealthy eating patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And so it got to a point where I was like, okay, so if I eat like celery all day and then work out for like 2 hours, then that should be great. You know, that's the ideal diet, but that's actually not anything that anyone should do. So by the time I was 15, 16 years old, that's where my mentality was at. And it was just because I hadn't been taught truly how to lose weight in a healthy way.
Mm-hmm. Right.
When I got to Word of Life, I started working out more, and people in the gym were telling me things, you know, how to eat right to accommodate my goals and things like that. I started doing Insanity, and that's how I was introduced to Beachbody, was doing Insanity my first year at Word of Life.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, and that makes me think of something. So a big part of Frank Talks is, I say worldview. It's, you have to, the intellect and the knowledge part is so important to everything that we do. If you don't have your information right on how to get fit and how to stay fit, you're not going to get fit. You're definitely not going to do it properly. And I'm sure that there are plenty of cases all across America. So I have a natural, I'm not sure if I said this already. I have a naturally high metabolism. So people like look at me and they go, well, you know, you're skinny. Of course you're fit. But I'm not. Like, I'm at risk for high cholesterol. I think it's already, my understanding, I can't remember correctly, but I think that my doctor was saying it's already on the high side. But you look at my my grandparents, both my grandfathers. They both had. Well, I think all my families had heart problems. And, you know, both my grandparents had cholesterol problems. I'm at risk. If I continue to eat, you know, like I do, and you know, then they say like skinny fat's really hard to lose. So I look at, you know, I got this little bit, you can't see it, but it's got this little bit on my stomach, and it's just like, okay, how do I get rid of that, like, as soon as possible? And that's why I was doing like sit-ups all year, because I just kind of figured, you know, that would help. What would you suggest for someone like me?
Well, I would say, you know, a lot of people think that you can tell how fit someone is just by looking at them, but that's really not true. Your outside doesn't necessarily reflect your inside truly. You know, people have different body types and their DNA is different. It's just how it is. But I would say, like, for someone like you, I would say diet is definitely the most important thing. Like, if you were to focus on, I would say, like, proteins and carbs, or proteins and vegetation, I mean, and try to cut out a lot of carbs, that you would see a lot of results pretty quickly.
So focus on vegetation and cut out carbs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not completely, because your body needs them to function, but focus on vegetation.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here thinking I eat carbs at every meal. One thing that I've done recently, because my little brother, who does the editing for Frank Talks, he's really into fitness, and I was, you know, if you were going to say no, I was going to have him on and and question him. No, and like while I was away at Word of Life, I came back and this kid is cut Like I say it all the time. There's this one girl at work, and I keep trying to tell this girl at work that she needs to go out with my little brother, and I keep going, man, you got to see him. He's just cut. It's so fun. I love to embarrass my little brother, but that's something he started doing. He started eating whole wheat,
Mm-hmm.
and I always eat like white bread because it's cheap and it's there. It's in my house. And then one day the white bread disappeared, and I was like, "Mom, what the hell?" So yeah, that's the journey that I'm slowly learning to like whole wheat, but I'm still eating a lot of it. Do you think do you think that's a problem, or?
I think so. Like a slice or two of whole wheat bread a day or every other day won't really hurt you because they are what you would consider like good carbs.
Mm.
But if you think about like everything else that's in bread, there's a lot of preservatives, a lot of things that hold it together. And that's not so like breads in general aren't necessarily the best thing. I would recommend for you probably a lot of like if you are going to eat a lot of carbs or maybe to like wean yourself slowly off of them a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
I would go with something like brown rice or quinoa. They're both whole proteins, but they're also carbs. And I think brown rice is better than white rice, to be honest. I think it tastes better.
Interesting. Yeah, I should contact you more, one on one to talk about this kind of stuff, because we're boring the audience with my diet.
I'm sure a lot of them can relate.
Yeah. Right. Let's see. So what other things? And I know you had written some stuff down. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you wrote down? Anything in your notes?
One thing I wrote down and kind of going back to the obstacles thing is a lot of things that people talk about or something that people talk about a lot. I forget how to speak English sometimes. The money, a CrossFit membership is like what, $300 a month?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to pay for that. And now I'm looking back and I loved it. It was a great workout, but why would I pay $300 a month for someone I'm going to see 4 hours out of the whole month? You know what I mean? It's like crazy. A lot of free fitness apps that you can download that really turn it into like a game. There's this one app that I used to have that you would go on like little quests, like you were climbing a mountain, but you would like run up and down the stairs for so long and stuff like that. And so it's pretty cool. And it was a free app. There are also workouts online that you can use for free. There are a lot of workouts you can stream from YouTube, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
you gotta send me some of those because Cole had talked about that too. My brother had talked about that. He talked about getting some sort of fitness app and using that. And I just never bothered to ask him what he used. So very cool. So actually, it turns out I do want to talk a little bit about the whole, what was it, 5 points that you want for your goal. So I talked about this for those watching who watched my my New Year's resolution video. So there's 5 things that you want your goal to be. You want it's SMART. That's the best way to remember it. So specific, measurable, agreed upon, especially if it's in a group goal, realistic, and time bound. So let's go through each of those and talk about different ways that we can make goals that are SMART. So specific goals. What are some specific goals, just generally, that you would tell people to set, or suggest for people to set in fitness? We have different people watching from different different levels in fitness. I have some people watching that are health nuts, and some people watching that are not, like me. So specific goals. What are some ways that we can make health goals that are specific? So I think of two different sides of this would be eating and exercise. I can't really think of anything else that would go into the area of health and fitness, right? It pretty much boils down to those two, right?
Yeah, those encompass everything.
Say what?
those encompass everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So what are some specific goals that we can set uh, as far as eating and exercise? Are there any like examples that you can think of that you would suggest for someone who came to you for advice?
I've found from my experience in the fitness community is that beginners and experts all have the same problems, you know. So things like drinking more water,
Hmm.
you know, saying like, well, I drink like juice right now and I count that as good enough, but I want to be drinking 8 glasses of water a day or something like that.
Hmm. Right, and that goes specific always goes right into measurable because, and I did that before I came to Word of Life. I would drink basically a half a gallon every day, and I found that it's not so much the idea that I'm getting from some of the stuff that I'm reading is it's not like a hard and fast rule that the half a gallon, but most of what I drink is water. Like every once in a while, like once a week, um, I'll drink soda or juice or whatever, but it's mostly water, and it probably does come out. It still come out to a half a gallon now. I stopped during Word of Life because the soda fountains were there, and it just made things so bad. It is so difficult. But yeah, you have a specific goal, but you want to make it measurable. So as far as measurable goals, you want you talk about uh, man, and whenever I put the camera on me, I blank out. I don't like having the camera on me. It makes me nervous. When you have specific and measurable goals. So I this is like the first or second year that I was doing this goal setting thing. Oh no, this is even before I started setting goals. I just wanted to start drinking water more. I was working as an electrician, and it was just like you're in the heat all the time and you're working. So I started drinking 2 bottles and just started working my way up from there. And I found out that the supposedly the goal was 8 was it 8 bottles a day or 8 cups a day, so that was like 4 bottles, and that was what I was drinking in a day. And before you know it, I went from someone who drank soda and juice all the time and caffeinated drinks to someone who drank exclusively water up until the point that I went to Word of Life. I was drinking exclusively water. So yeah, it's measurable. You don't want to just say, oh, I need to drink more water. You say, okay, I want to drink 1 bottle of water every day, and then you move to 2, and then 3, and then you have, let me see, agreed upon, which is for if you're in a group, you want to have a goal that everyone in the group agrees upon. But even if it's just a personal goal, you don't want to take a goal that's just because Frank suggests it or because Chelsea suggested it. I mean, we can suggest it, but you can't do it because Chelsea Gets Fit is telling you you got to set this goal right now. You have to drink 4 bottles of water every day because I said so. You have to want to take that goal on. If it's not a personal goal, you're never going to accomplish it. So specific, measurable, agreed upon, realistic. Make sure that it's not super crazy, and then time bound. So you always want to keep time in factor, and I think that's one of my weaknesses. One of my weaknesses with my health goals, especially this year, is there's not a lot of time restraints. My objective this year is to work out more intensely and more frequently this year. So that's the objective, and I'm trying to break it down to a specific goal. And I talked earlier about wanting to work out like a little bit every hour, but it's not written down. It's very vague. It's like, okay, how do I get to that point where I'm working out all the time? I'm working out throughout the day. So yeah, let's talk about that. Making goals time bound. Do you have anything that you wanted to say about that?
Um, I think it's important to have a set deadline, like I want to achieve this by this point, because if it's open-ended, you might never do it.
Right.
So, like, personally, my goal for this year is my wedding is September 2nd, and I want to have 2 to 3 inches. I want to have my wedding dress be taken in 2 to 3 inches. I already have it. It fits perfectly, but I want it to also fit perfectly smaller. So, you know, my goal would be the beginning of August by the time I go to have my dress altered.
Okay, the beginning of August, you said?
Yeah, and I know that's not like a ground shaking goal or anything like that. But
and then this is something, let me see. You wouldn't remember, Drew, but I had a friend from Word of Life who always said you set goals for every year, every month, every day. So I guess, maybe you want your goals to increase from day to day so that you get better over a year's time. But even if you say, like I did last year, every day, every weekday, I'm going to do 30 push-ups, 30 sit-ups, and that's a time restraint. I'm doing that every day. And right, weight itself is a great measurement, and you say I want to lose so many pounds in so many months. That gives you measurement and time limit. And I'm sure that there's a waistline and things like that. That's a really interesting goal that you said. To have your dress fit smaller and a certain size. But yeah, that's so important that we miss putting time restraints on what we want. That happens so many times with New Year's resolutions. Whenever you hear them, it's like, oh yeah, I want to lose weight. Oh, okay, how much? How soon? Okay, so I think that's coming to the close of that. We talked about SMART goals. So in maybe 15 minutes, I've got to set a few things up. We're going to go live again, and we're going to talk about taxes and tax reform. Very interesting, because you're a bit more, you're a libertarian, you consider yourself.
Yeah.
Now, are you a card-carrying Libertarian Party member, or?
No, I'm registered as independent.
You're registered as independent. Okay, that's very common among millennials. So I'm a Republican, but I believe that Republicans ought to be, and I believe that conservatism is about conserving libertarianism as our founders, imagined it. So we'll talk a little bit about that, a little about the role of taxes. And for those of you who are members, you've seen I've posted my tax reform movement. I say my tax plan for short, but it's like laying out an entire movement of reforming taxes, how our government taxes and spends. And I want to start a conversation about this with our members, and hopefully use the funds from Frank Talks to promote this tax reform plan. So you guys are going to have a hand in getting this thing out there. It'll be really interesting. All right, so that's it for this broadcast. I'm going to go get my charger and set up the next one. Stay with me, all right, Chelsea?
All right.
All right. And for those of you who don't upgrade, I'll see you next month. And I'm going to try and get I'm going to try and get more than one live cast next month. It's a goal. It's not in stone. I got to get people to agree, and hopefully they don't back out like the last guest did. But thank you for being the very first. Thank you for being the very first Frank Listens guest, and we'll see all you guys later. All right, bye.